Welcome everyone. I'm so glad to see you on a Friday afternoon, the very last day of Detroit Startup Week. This is Female Founders Day, which is why I'm always on a Friday, because I'm the founder of my own company. And I'm glad that you all took the time to join me, especially in this new format of the virtual. My topic was originally, when I turned it in earlier this year, this is my third year actually with Detroit Startup Week, and I've always had a great room full of people, and I could see everybody and we could see each other. And when I did this topic, I was thinking everybody would have paper and pencil and we could talk to each other and have a kind of interactive, but this is a little bit different. But what I want you to do is be prepared to take some notes, because I'm going to ask you some questions. The whole point of this is this is the end of the first half of the year, and it's time to revisit our goals and refine them and reclaim them for 2020. So my name is Pamela Owens, and we can get started. So a little bit about me. I am a native of Detroit. I graduated from Cass Technical High School. I have a bachelor's and a master's in education from Eastern Michigan University. My first career was as an educator. I've taught all grades from pre-kindergarten all the way through university. And I did that for a couple of decades. And then my second career was as a sales leader in both corporate sales and direct sales. And I did that for several years. And then my third career is now as an entrepreneur. So I am an author, a business coach and consultant, a book publisher, a public speaker, and a podcaster. And I'm married, and I have 6 children and 2 grandchildren. I decided to become an entrepreneur in 2008, right in the middle of the Great Recession. I started my first company, Writing It Right for You, in 2008. I started my second company in 2012, Detroit Inc. Publishing. I started my third company, Your Business, Your Brand Creatively, in 2014. And I started my weekly podcast, the YB2C Live Podcast for Entrepreneurs, in 2017. I am not looking to start any more companies, but you never know. So you can see my logo up there that has all my 3 companies, and then my logo for my podcast, which is available everywhere on Spotify, Apple, Pandora, everywhere. So this presentation. In January, every year in January, I choose a word of the year for myself. And I chose the word reclamation in January. Over the past few years, like many of us, I've had some personal and business challenges, and I wanted to reclaim myself and reclaim my original business goals. But who knew that in just a few months later, COVID-19 would cause all of us to regroup, rethink, rework, and reclaim ourselves in all areas. In March of 2020, the world closed down. Everything stopped, and we were caught completely by surprise by the enormity of the virus and what it would do to our lives. So the word reclamation is actually even more relevant now than it was in January when I thought of it. So this presentation will be about 50 minutes, and there's going to be about 10 minutes at the end for questions and answers. So you can put them in the Q&A, and also don't forget to have anything that you might want to ask me, and we'll get back to that. So this outline is the outline for the presentation is based on my book that I wrote in 2018. I think you can see it here. Let's see how you can see it. There we go. And it's called It Takes 10 Years to Become an Overnight Success. I wrote in 2018, which was my 10th year as a freelance business owner, and I wrote it in 10 chapters outlining every single year of my time in business. And so there's 10 chapters in the book, and there's going to be 10 points in this presentation based on what I wrote in the book. Coming up in July, in a couple of weeks, I'll be celebrating 12 years as a full-time entrepreneur. I can't wait. That's going to be so exciting. So reclamation number 1, which is also part of the chapter number 1, starting from scratch. I want you to think about when you started your business, or if you haven't started yet, what you're thinking about, you're starting your business. I started my first company, like I said, in July 2008, right in the middle of the Great Recession. I didn't realize, well, I did know that we were in a Great Recession, but that didn't bother me. All I knew was that I never wanted to work for anyone else ever again. And in my book, I talk about the challenges that I had when I was a teacher, when I was a college professor, when I was in corporate sales. I guess I was a bit of a rebel, and I still am. And so sometimes it was very difficult for me to work for others. So even though I did that for many, 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 many years. But in 2008, I decided I never wanted to do that again. I wanted to be my own boss. So I took my two major skill sets as an English major and as a sales professional and started a writing and editing business. I started my business based on my own strengths. English is my thing. I always wanted to be an English teacher from second grade. And then I did many, many, many years in sales. So I put the two together. So I started my first business, Writing It Right for You. I just opened it up on July 7th. I got my first customer, my first client that first week, got my first international client in September. So in three months, I was a global enterprise. But before that, I sat in front of my computer for the entire month of June of 2008 and taught myself how to go into business. Because being a writer is not the same as having a writing business. So you have to really make a bit out of what you want to do. So I want you to write down or keep track of how and why did you decide to start your own business. Knowing your why helps you keep going in the difficult times. My why was, of course, was that I never wanted to work for anybody else again. And so I didn't really have a plan B. My plan A was to be an entrepreneur, and that's what I did. So can you reclaim your why? On the hardest days when things are not going well, I remember that if I don't make a go of this, I'll have to go work for someone else again. And I don't want to do that. So my why is I don't ever want to work for anyone else again. So reclaim your why. As an entrepreneur, and reclamation number 2, as a matter of fact, is who are you working for? Now, of course, you're working for yourself. That's the whole point of being an entrepreneur. But you are actually also working for your clients or your customers. Now, when I do business coaching and business consulting, I divide up clients and customers as not the same thing. A client usually is when you have a service business or professional business. I have clients because I have an intangible service. People who sell tangible products, in my idea, I have customers. So a lot of people use clients and customers interchangeably, but I use clients for intangible services and things like that, professional services, and customers if you have a retail product to sell. So who are your clients or customers? Who do you want to sell your services to? If you've taken any of my training or anybody's training about sales and marketing, you know that people ask, who is your ideal client? Who is your ideal customer? A lot of people go into sales or think that they can sell to anybody who has a credit card and a pulse. No, you really need to find your ideal person that you want to sell to, and then find out what their needs and challenges are. And how have their needs and challenges changed? That's also very important because you want to know how you can help them. So I want you to take a couple of seconds here and reclaim the image of your ideal client and your ideal customer, because it may have changed a little bit from the beginning of the year. Reclaim the notion that you are offering a solution to their needs. That's all we as entrepreneurs do. Someone has a need, whether it's a need for a service or a need for a product. Someone has a need, someone has a challenge, and someone has a problem, and that's what we do. We offer them a solution. We offer them the product they're looking for. We offer them the service that they're looking for. So take a couple of minutes to do that. You can put your pencil in your mouth and think about it if you'd like. Reclamation number 3. Marketing, you want to reclaim your marketing mojo. Marketing is the lifeblood of your business. When I work with my business clients. A lot of times people go into business and they really don't have sales experience, and they are trying to well, a lot of people, let's put it this way, a lot of people don't like to sell. They don't like the idea of selling. But the only way to have business, there is no business until something is sold. But even before you get to the selling part, you have to do the marketing. And a lot of times, either when we are really busy, yay, or we are at the end of our rope, boo, marketing kind of goes off to the wayside. We've lost our marketing mojo. It's off there down the road. We can't seem to find it. And this is the time that you can spend getting back, reclaiming those marketing things that you have known to work for you before. Don't lose your marketing. Reclaim those marketing. I'll talk about some different marketing efforts that you can do. But once you find that marketing mojo, reclaim the processes that you know have worked in the past to bring you the right clients and customers. Reclaim those marketing processes to make them a regular part of your daily and weekly work. And later on, we're going to talk about how you can use this last week in June to get back to your marketing. Because depending on where your business is now and where you want it to be the second half of the year, you want to make sure that you have your marketing in place. And when you have your marketing mojo, you look like that bottom picture. You are so, so happy. Reclamation number 4, reclaiming your help. Teamwork makes the dream work. Now, when I first started as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, I was doing everything myself. Like I said, I sat in front of the computer the entire month of June and taught myself how to go into business. I'm pretty computer literate. I even went. You see the Writing It Right for You logo there at the bottom. I went into Vistaprint and made my own little logo, and that was and I still use it. My own logo. I made my own systems, and I did everything myself. But as things got to be more complicated and I had more clients and everything, all of a sudden I was spending so much time doing the admin work and working on the business. I wasn't working in the business. Sometimes I'd be doing admin work all day long. And it was 4 o'clock and I hadn't even started my client work. That's when I knew I had to have some help. And once I hired help, I hired just part-time help. It freed me up to do what I really was there to do, was to work with clients. It is impossible for one person to do everything. No one is good at all things. And I have an awesome graphic designer on my team. And I always tease her, and she always teases me, because we've gotten to the point where I say, I have to stay in my own lane. I am not a designer. I am not a graphic designer. But she is. Not only did she study it, and she has a master's in fine arts, but she's been doing it. She has her own business. She's been doing it for almost 30 years. So what she can do so quickly, relatively quickly, rather than me doing it, and of course with such excellence, I could never do. So I take the time to pay her to do the high-level graphic design, rather than me trying to take time out of my day. And like I said, this is my 3rd year presenting a Detroit Startup Week. And 2 years ago, when it was my first year, this is a funny story. When it was my first year, I wanted to make a little postcard to announce that I was going to be presenting at Detroit Startup Week. My graphic designer was on vacation. So I decided to do it myself. She came back from vacation and she said, "That looks like an obituary." And I thought it looked good. She said it looked like an obituary because I am an English teacher. She is the graphic designer. So take the time to find the help that you need. Stay in your own lane. Reclaim the idea that you are not an island. What do you do well that no one else can do? And what can you give other people to do? Reclaim the notion that getting the help you need will help you get more business in less time. If you are not good at writing, hire someone to do the writing and the copywriting for you. If you are not good at graphic design, find someone to do the graphic design for you. If the type of business that you have does not allow you to be on the phone all day long, find someone to answer the phone for you. Figure out where you need the help, and then find the people to help you. I call it my dream team. I have 4 people on my team. All of them are women, and they're in England, in Central America, here in Detroit, and in Los Angeles. And so I'm a global enterprise, and I have a global team, all women, and that's how I'm able to do everything that I do for my companies. Reclamation number 5. Reclaiming your clients' and your customers' needs. Now, I said earlier that you actually work for your clients and for your customers. Determine what their needs are. Sometimes we forget, especially if we get caught up in, I've got to make this money, I've got to make my goals this year, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And we forget that we are here to serve our clients and customers. So how can you best help your clients and customers? And you can see in the first graphic there, clients and customers are all kinds of people. So it's up to you to determine and reclaim and remember who your ideal client is so that you can help them the most. When you can offer what people are looking for, you have a viable and successful business. One of my great stories from last year, you can see at the bottom, that is a book launch for some clients of mine. They're in the center. They're a married couple in the center of this picture, and this was some of the people who stopped by for their book launch. They've been married for 27 years, and they have been in business for 27 years, and they wanted a book written about their story. So they hired me to ghostwrite and publish their book. And it took them a while to find the right person. If you are in a service business like I am, you know that sometimes people are trying to get things done for the lowest price, which is not always the best deal, because sometimes people who don't charge very much also don't offer very much value. So my client, tried a couple of people and that didn't work out. He finally came back to me, and we worked everything out. And from January of 2019, from January of 2019 until May of 2019, we ghost wrote the book. I had a team, graphic designer. There was a professional photographer who took the photograph on the front cover. We had a publishing company here in Detroit that does the printing, and it was so successful. And my clients were so happy. The gentleman right there, he was almost in tears because he had been trying to get this done for so long. And now his book goes worldwide, and it is the basis of their story. So when you have client successes like that, it really makes it all worthwhile. All of the work that you have to do and all the preparation that you have to do to get to that point. So remember that you're working to build relationships with your clients and customers. Unless you are, depending on your type of business, you really don't want just a one-time transaction. Go back and look at the processes that you've put in place to meet your clients and customers' needs. Because it's only through your processes and your systems that you can then work on the business of supplying your clients and customers with what they want and what they need, and that's how you become successful in your business. Reclamation number 6, reclaiming your business classification. Now, if you remember, I started with one company, and then I added the second company, and then I added the third company, and then I added the podcast. When I started as just writing and editing was at the time was what I knew how to do best because of my background in English, because of my background in education, because of my background as a teacher and a professor. And then the business part was because of my background in sales. When I started my company, unlike a lot of people, I had no problem thinking or believing that I could do the sales to reach my goals. That wasn't a problem. So, but what I did have to learn how to do was to exactly what these editing needed, and how to turn my skills into a business. So, if you are an entrepreneur, that means you are in charge of everything, and so you have to know how to do everything. Although you can hire people to help you out. Are you a solopreneur? Some people, excuse me, I have allergies. Hold on one second. Thank you. It is well, it is kind of funny because ever since I was 12 years old, something that blooms in June gives me allergies. You can almost set your calendar by it. If I start coughing and sneezing, it must be the 1st of June. And now with the COVID around, every time you cough and sneeze, people look at you funny. But truly, trust me, it's allergies. um, but if you are a solopreneur, not only are you an entrepreneur, but you're doing everything by yourself, but hopefully with a team. But look at your business classification. Solopreneur is not a government classification. Uh, but are you going to work it by yourself, or are you going to work it with employees? That's the word I was looking for. Because some entrepreneurs have employees and some do not. I do not have employees. I have contractors, and my contractors are all business people themselves and freelancers themselves. So that's a different kind of classification, especially tax-wise. If you are in the United States, because I know I have some people coming from around the country, if you are in the United States, it is very important to know whether the people who work for you are employees or are contractors for tax purposes. Are you an LLC? I became an LLC, limited liability company, very, very early, mainly to protect myself tax-wise. So you want to go back and reclaim your first of all, review, and then reclaim the type of solo type of business that you want to set up, or that you have set up, to make sure it's the same way. Now, what type of business you are is different from what kind of business you want to be. This is where your values come in. This is where your vision comes in. This is where your mission comes in. So this is a good time to review or rewrite your vision and your mission, so that your company reflects who you are and what you are about. So this is the time to reclaim the vision for the kind of business that you had at the beginning, or the kind of business that you want in the beginning. This is also the time to review your business type. Is it time to revise it? Is it time to change it? Depending on your circumstances. Now, the reason why I'm so glad that this this presentation is right here near the end of June, just before the beginning of July, is not only because we want to reclaim our business goals from last January, but next week gives you some time. These next few days gives you some time, and I hope that you take the time to actually sit down by yourself, or with your partners, or with your employees, with your contractors, to actually go back and reclaim and revisit and revise, so that when July 1st comes, the beginning of the third quarter and the beginning of the second half of the year, you'll be ready. You won't be the middle of July trying to get ready for the second half of the year. And of course, you want to review and your business plan, and the marketing plan that is part of that business plan. This is a great time to do it, especially if you have a little bit more time now that we're working from home. Reclamation number 7, reclaiming your business model. Business model is not the same thing as business type. What is your original business model? My original business model was I worked with people just with writing and editing. I didn't do anything else. I worked with one client at a time. I worked just with clients in Detroit. But as things went on, my business model changed. Like I said, I started in July, and in September, someone from all the way in the United Kingdom contacted me and wanted me to help him with his editing. And all of a sudden, I had an international clientele. And my international clientele actually grew and grew and grew. So at this time, I've worked with people in about 15 countries around the world over the years. So that was not my original business model. So I had to change the way I did things, time zones, computers, all those kinds of things. I had to learn to write in all of the different dialects of English. American English is different from Canadian English, which is different from Australian English, which is definitely different from UK English, British English. So that's how I had to change my business model. I had to change how I worked with my clients because my clients changed. Is it still serving my needs? My needs changed as my businesses grew. Now, when I started out with the Writing It Right for You, a lot of my clients were people who had written book manuscripts, but they didn't know what to do with them after that. So that's when I started the second company in 2012, Detroit Ink Publishing. My graphic designer that I told you about, she's the one that designed the logo for Detroit Ink Publishing. Because people didn't know, they were independent authors, they were just written their first manuscripts, and they didn't know what to do with the manuscript once it was written. So then I changed my business model to expand to a second company where I did all of the editing, all of the formatting, all of the publishing of and help them with their marketing for independent writers who wanted to become published authors. So now I'm doing writing and editing for small companies, large companies, individuals, and I'm doing book publishing. So as I'm going along, I had to, first of all, go back to my whys. I expanded, and things got a little bit greater, which is on the one hand good, on the other hand always not so good because you tend to get overwhelmed. I had to remember on the days that I felt like I wanted to quit, I had to go back to my why. If I quit, I'd have to get a real job. No, thank you. What components should you keep? What components should you change? And so over the years, I've changed my computer systems. I used to work on a PC, and I changed completely to the Apple. Everything I have is Apple now. Everything I have is Mac now. I wouldn't know how to use a PC now if somebody gave one to me free. But I started out on a PC. And as a creative person, I find that Apple and Mac are more suited to my needs. My business model changed because of the time zone and the people that I was working with. My business hours changed because I had a client, we wrote a series, wrote and published a series of 5 books for him. He lived in New Zealand. And if you know that time zone, it's literally day and night. So he would write down what he wanted me to do while he was awake and I was asleep. I would work on what he wanted me to work on and send it over to him to review literally the next day for him. So that was a big change from working locally to working globally. So I had to, not only did I add a company, so I had to change the type of business that I had at the beginning, but now I had 2 businesses. So I had to change all my systems, I had to change all my business model so that I could now support 2 businesses. And then during this downtime, like I said before, this is a good time for you to reclaim the why that you went into business, especially if your business is having a challenging time. So many businesses are having a challenging time right now that it's a good time to do a lot of reviewing, a lot of reclaiming, and I really do hope that you are that you have somewhere written down your business goals. I hope you did that in preparation for today's presentation. But if not, this is a good time over the weekend, before next weekend is a holiday. Okay, we get gypped of a 3-day weekend because July 4th is on a Saturday next week. But sometime between now and then, to write down what your business goals are, what they were in January, and what you want them to be for the remainder of the year. Reclamation number 8, reclaiming your workspace. Now, for many of us, this is where some of the biggest changes have happened. Because of COVID-19, where and how we work has changed drastically for most of us. And depending on the situation, you may have transitioned from working in an office setting to working from your home office, even if your home office is your dining room table. Many of us have had to pivot from working with people face to face, either with our clients and our customers or with our colleagues, and having face-to-face events, which are networking events or events to endless Zoom meetings. Some people I talk to have 5 Zoom meetings in one day. This is a good time to get some Zoom stock, but that's a big change for many people. And so what was working for you in January will not necessarily be what's working for you now in terms of your work situation. Retail businesses have had to change from welcoming customers in their stores to online shopping or curbside pickup. That couple I talked to you about just closed their shop in the North End. Very sad. They're working from home now because they are not doing the type of selling or the amount of selling that they could do when they had the store, and they're having to regroup and rework everything to work from their home. And so that's happened to a lot of people. And so look at where you were in January and look at where you are now. What has changed? What can you reclaim from what you envisioned in January so that you can rework it, rework your systems, rework your processes, and reclaim especially the excitement that you had in January about your business so that you can have it on July 1st. Now, these pictures here, that's the outside and the interior of my wonderful co-working space. I was there for 7.5 years in Midtown Detroit called the Green Garage. And when this started happening in March, it was very open. The space is open, but we were an open community. And when this started happening in March, week by week, things started closing down. And in April, everybody had to leave the facility. And I started working from my home office. Oh, that's me at the bottom, still in the Green Garage. I was there 7.5 years. I really enjoyed being there. But now that I brought everything to my home office and I work almost 99% virtually, I left the Green Garage a couple of weeks ago, and I will go back on Fridays when they reopen up. They probably will not reopen up for guests, and for the networking lunches, probably not until September or so. So I'll be working from home, and that was a big change for me to work from having an office to having a home office and doing everything virtually. So what are the work processes that you can go back and reclaim? Number one, rework. What systems do you need to rework now that you are working exclusively from home or exclusively on Zoom? What changed? What changed? What can you reclaim so that you can rework it? Oh, work schedule. A lot of people who are now working from home, their work schedule has changed. Especially if you're an entrepreneur. Now, if you work for a company, that's different. They probably have set work hours for you, but most of us here are entrepreneurs. So are you finding yourself not remembering what day it is? Are you working in your PJs all day long? So what can you reclaim so that you are really back in work mode, even though you're working from home, so that you can reclaim your productivity? Reclamation number 9, reclaiming the balance between the highs and lows of business ownership. Now stop and think about it. If you are a business owner, if you are an office, an entrepreneur, everything has changed so that you sometimes or often or every day are feeling quite the stress of changing everything. So you have to, and so that picture at the top, you're trying to do 1,000 things at once. You're working at your kitchen table or at your dining room table, and you may have lost the balance and you're having more lows than you're having highs in your business. So how can you reclaim the balance between the highs and the lows? Everything that you've had to change may be a low. How can you change it into a high? As you know, this seems like it's going to last for a long, long time, but it's not going to last forever, but it might last a whole nother year. So how can you get back to where you were in January so that you're feeling good about your business in July, so that one day soon, when the coffee shops open back up, you can take the time to breathe and walk down the street and get a cup of coffee. And reclaiming, number 10, reclaiming the best of times back. Now, like I said, we've been in business for 12 years. That's me and my husband. Last year, we were at the Palmer Park Art Fair, and there was a special author tent set up. That was the first time they had an author tent at the Palmer Park Art Fair. And it was 3 days. We had such a good time. We met a lot of people. We sold a lot of books because we're both of us are authors as well as having a publishing company. And we had such a good time. And this year we had to close all that down. We haven't had any group events. We haven't had any networking events. All the art fairs have stopped. So how do we reclaim that excitement and that fun? Because June 30th is the end of the second business quarter, by June 30th, which is next Wednesday, I think, 1, 2, 3, next Tuesday, I think it is, fully one half of the year is over. Where are you now versus where you thought you'd be at this time, BC, before COVID? What can you do to revise, reset, and achieve your business goals in the second half of 2020, even in the midst of all this continuing uncertainty? What are some of the fun things, the best times of your business that you can revise or bring back or rework? Now, for example, the art fairs, a lot of them now are being done virtually. I'm on the board of an artist group that we work with teen artists, and we have had to teach them how to sell their art virtually since they can't do it at art fairs anymore. A lot of my authors from my publishing company, I am teaching them how to do virtual book signings, which is a challenge because you can't really sell the books right there like you can at a face-to-face book signing. So it's been a really reworking. But if their goal at the beginning of the year was to have so many events, so many book signings, sell so many books by the end of this year, and that's what we worked on in January, now we're going to have to go back, see what those goals were, and see how we could rework them. And like I said, this was fun because I got to go through some of my pictures when I was preparing this presentation. And I actually forgotten about the art fair from last year. I picked from the art fair last year. So take the time while you're reclaiming your business goals to go back and reclaim some of the fun times that you've had in your business, some of the best times that you've had in your business, so that you can reclaim that excitement, reclaim that why, reclaim that time that even though we can't meet face-to-face for the most part now, we will be able to again pretty soon. So reclaim that, go through your photos, go through your memories, and write it down. Either write it down digitally or write it down on pencil and paper. Just the act of writing these things down, just the act of going back to just a few months ago, it was just 6 months ago that it was January. And just that act of going back will really help you to go forward. Writing it down, I put that in all capitals because it is imperative that you write down everything that you have done and everything that you want to do. You can't just talk about it, you have to write it down. The art of actually writing it or typing it actually helps to put it into your mind and helps to bring it about. So what you want to do is reclaim your life, reclaim your business, and most of all, reclaim your power. So, unfortunately, somebody asked on this church sign, can we just uninstall 2020 and install it again? This version has a virus. I love that sign because when the virus came to us, it completely turned all of our lives completely upside down. Unfortunately, we can't reinstall it. We're going to have to do with what we have. So, there's a way that I want you to be able to contact me at any time. I'll be ready, willing, able to talk to you, to help you out, to help you to look at your goals from the past and bring them back into the future. And so you can reach me at all the social media. There I am looking for you, and there I am working in my home office. So I have a Facebook group, the YB2C Premium Facebook group, and that is for creative and solo professionals and for small business owners. And that's where we do a lot of supporting each other and talking about branding and marketing. You can find me on LinkedIn, Pamela Hilliard Owens. You can find me on Instagram at Pamela Hilliard Owens, and I see a typo there. It's Pamela_Hilliard_Owens. All of my writings, I've moved all of my blog posts to Medium, and you can find me there at Pamela Hilliard Owens, and my email, Pamela@PamelaHilliardOwens.com, and you must know my name by now because I use it everywhere. And you can find my book. I dropped it on the floor. You can find my book. It takes 10 years to become there. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success on Amazon in both print and Kindle edition. So I just want to encourage you. It seems like every day things are getting worse, not better. But the way that they get better for us is that we have to make them better. We have to go back to our why, go back to how it was BC, before Corona, and make sure that we are in charge. As entrepreneurs, that's why I wanted to become an entrepreneur, because I wanted to make my own life and make my own goals. And so as entrepreneurs, we are in charge. And it's how we decide to go back and reclaim our power from before and make ourselves even more powerful in the future. So thank you so much. I want you to get ready for the question and answer if you have any. Christina's going to come back on and help me with these questions and answers. But this is, number one, this is Friday. And this is the last day of Detroit Startup Week. So I want to make sure that you have a good weekend. But if you haven't already, when you registered for Detroit Startup Week, if you missed any sessions or you didn't know that there were some great sessions going on, go back to DetroitStartupWeek.com and you'll be able to see all of the sessions that have been on ever since Monday. And you can go back and hear the recordings of the ones that you may have missed. So I want you to do that, and I want you to give a hand to our technical department. This was a big change for them. From doing it with thousands of people Monday through Friday to all of a sudden being virtual, and all the technology that went into it. So they've done a great job. And then these last few days of June, I want you to make sure. I want you to make a note to yourself. I want you to tie a ribbon around your finger so that you don't forget. This is the time to go back and revisit and reclaim your power, your business goals from January, rework them, reclaim them, revise them, so that by July 1st, you are ready to go into the third quarter of the year and the second half of the year. So on Saturday for the holiday, you don't have to worry because you know that you're ready. Okay, Christina, do we have any questions?
We do not have any questions. If you do have questions as we're just talking, wrapping things up, please feel free to drop them in the question and answer box. If you have anything that you would like to discuss or ask Ms. Owens, I know she would be happy to do so. I have a comment from Carrie Berry. She says, this was just what I needed to get from Detroit Startup Week and the perfect way to end this conference. Thank you so much. Great job.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
What a wonderful compliment. And I think I feel the same way. This is a great way to wrap up, to remember where we began and where we need to start again, right?
Yes. It's so hard. I mean, it's so easy to get discouraged. That's what I mean to say. With everything going on, we have so many things, so many crises going on all at the same time, and then on top of that, we have to try to run our businesses. So it's so easy to be discouraged. But if you go back to before COVID and remember where you were then, and help yourself to redo this now. You know, right here at the end of the month, because we're in control. That's why we're entrepreneurs. And remember that we're in control and we can overcome all of this that's getting us down on our shoulders every day.
Andra says, this was a great session. This gave me the motivation to finish the next 6 months strong. What a powerful statement. Gaylada says, good presentation. You know, I am a startup, but this still fueled my need for perspective. Thank you, Pamela.
Great.
So just a lot of genuine good response to all of the information that you were able to share with us today, helping us kind of refocus after the world shut down on us back in March.
The world is temporarily closed, but it will open up again.
It will. Yes, it will. Just genuine gratitude for helping us get back on track with all of our business endeavors. So good. Great information, Ms. Pamela. Thank you so much for presenting with us. Renee is jumping in, just saying thank you so much. I want to thank all of the attendees for joining. My goodness. It's the last day, not quite the end of the last day, but the last day. What a powerful week of conversation and interaction with other business owners. I know personally, I have been kind of filled up with more drive to go get it done. You know, I know being a business owner is a lonely task at times. And being amongst other business owners and entrepreneurs, other people that have drive, that have vision, always fires me up to continue to move and to continue to produce. So that is fantastic. It doesn't look like we have any questions. So if you're okay with this, Ms.
Great. And again, thank you to all the participants. Thank you. I'm so glad that you joined me today. And hopefully next year, let's keep our fingers crossed. Maybe next year for the Detroit Startup Week, we'll be able to be together again face to face. If you continue to wear your mask, maybe it'll be over by next year. But if not, we can do it virtually again. Thank you again, and thank you to Detroit Startup Week for having me for the third year in a row, and thank you to all of you participants for listening to me today.